All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and B'schus L'Refuah Shalema B'Karov Meshalom ben Sar Rachel, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today we are on page 169 in the Ora Vigdor, for those who are following along. And today we're going to start talking about some of the reasons as to why, when we see sometimes in this world that evil people, rasha, that they're so prosperous. Until now, we spoke about why we sometimes see that a tzaddik might be afflicted, he might have difficulties and struggles in his life, and we know the flip side to that was we were talking about that we see sometimes the righteous are poor and desolate, and that the evil people, the Rishon, they are successful. And so today we're going to talk about the six reasons. We'll start with the 6 reasons as to why the Rishon might sometimes be, and again, these are subject to but not limited to these reasons. B'chavos avavos, Rabbeinu Bechaya brings some of these hypothetical reasons that could be possible, and every case is different. And he says the reason why, even though this has been an age-old question, and why the tzaddikim and neviim and before have never answered this, is because there is no one answer for all of them. Every single one of them is unique. And as we know, when someone goes to ask a shiur from his Rav, every person gets a different answer sometimes because it's unique to the individual and to the entire circumstance. And that's what we're going with over here. Now, in the first of these is Avol Toivas Ha'el Yizbarach El Rasha. But why does Hashem sometimes give a rasha happiness? Yesh Shetiyah. One reason is Ba'avor Toiva Shekadmaloi, because of some good deed that he might have done in the past. And Hashem rewards him in this world. Why? So that when he comes to the next world, he will have nothing at all. And this is actually the complete opposite that we see that when we spoke about the tzaddik. By the tzaddik, we spoke about why does the tzaddik, we see sometimes they suffer, and we see that sometimes even a tzaddik, he might have to be punished for a sin that he's done, but Hashem rather punish him in this world. Why? Because Hashem finds the true world, the Olam HaEmes, the world to come, Olam HaBa, that's the real and most important spot to go to. This world is just a pass-through. Our neshama comes down, and we try to do as best as we can to elevate our neshama so that when we go back up to Shemayim after 120, that neshama goes into a higher place from where it started when it came down to this world. And so this is the complete opposite. This rasha, he did do something good in his life, and Hashem never ever leaves any payment unpaid. Any bill unpaid. And so this rasha deserves a reward. Hashem wants to reward this rasha in this world. It says in the pasuk, he repays his enemies in his lifetime, while they're alive, to his face, to make him perish later on after he dies, and he should burn in hell. And the early ones translated the above as follows. He pays his enemies, meaning the wicked ones, Zachvan, for their merits, the Inan Ovdin Kedemayu, that once they did, in their lifetime, Levadeon, to destroy them in the world to come. Basically the same idea. That Hashem prefers that tzaddikim get the highest level of Gan Eden, and he prefers that the Rishayim don't get any Gan Eden and go to the depths of hell as much as they can. And so therefore, the rasha will be rewarded for his good deeds on this world, so that when he comes up to Shemayim, Hashem is already paid up. Now Hashem could make sure he pays for all his sins that he's done in this world. That's the first of the reasons. Now, a second reason for prosperity of the rasha, he says, V'yesh Shetiyah, sometimes Hashem gives success in accumulating property to the rasha. It's not really necessarily for him, but he's going to keep it he keeps it for future generations or for someone else altogether. Until Hashem will give it to a righteous son, that will be deserving of it. So this rasha, he might be accumulating it, and he might have all of it, and yes, he's going to spend some of it and all that. But at the end of the day, and we're going to see actually this later on in Chavos Avavos, and probably in a month or two, that very often you see a person that accumulates wealth and properties over time, over the years, but they never really get to enjoy it. And the proof is you have many wealthy people that die, and the day they die, 99% of their net worth goes to their yarshim or to someone else or whatever it is. It says, he prepares, but a righteous man will wear it. That we're talking about over there, that Hashem allows the rasha to accumulate, but at the end of the day, who's going to enjoy that money is going to be a tzaddik. And he says, a man who is not worthy makes a garment, but a tzaddik wears the garment. It may not necessarily be his son, but sometimes a grandson or someone else altogether that might get lost during war times and stuff like that. V'amar, and says, Hashem has given the sinner an occupation, less of a lichnos, to collect and gather, and to give it to one who's good in the opinion of Hashem. And we see one famous story that this happened. And I'm sure there are many other stories, none of them can come to mind, but Rabbi Victor Miller says one of the most famous stories that you see that a rasha accumulated such amounts of wealth, and at the end of the day it was taken away from him and was given to a tzaddik. We see by our beautiful story in Purim by Mordechai tzaddik when it came to Haman. What happened? At the end of the day, we all know the end result of Haman. Haman lost everything. He went up against Mordechai. But what happened was Achashverosh says he took the ring from Haman and gave it to Mordechai, and basically he put Mordechai in charge of the estate of Haman. You see over there that over Haman's lifetime, he gathered properties, he gathered wealth, all these different things. But what happened at the end? In 1 minute, Hashem took it from him and gave it to Mordechai tzaddik. Because at the end of the day, sometimes we might see, in this second reason, is we might see them having it, they accumulate it, it's in their possession. But Hashem is just preparing it so that they give it to a person who is worthy of that. And another place over here talks about also, there is sometimes that a tzaddik is born out of a rasha, and it is possible. And Hashem is preparing the Yerusha from this person so that the tzaddik, who later on is representing this family, he will be able to appreciate, he will be able to have what to live off of. So we see these two reasons. First one is the complete opposite of what we said by the tzaddik, that Hashem wants to repay that rasha in this world. So when it comes to Olam Haba, which is the preferential world, that's where Hashem really finds. That's like, by the way, I keep going over this in my own mind, I keep talking to people about this. It's the hardest thing to really internalize, is the idea that Olam Haba is really the true world that we have to work towards. And like everyone's working so hard to make it in this world. And the hardest thing is to internalize the idea that really what we're trying to get to is the other world. And we have to do as much as possible in terms of, being a good Eved Hashem and Torah and Chesed, Gimos Chasam, Tzedakah, all those different things that helps us out on the other world, because this world is just a place that we accumulate. But what we're accumulating sometimes is the wrong thing. We're trying to accumulate masses of wealth, but for the wrong reasons. Obviously done for the correct reasons is great. That's from the first reason. The second reason, again, because Hashem is giving it to a rasha, but inevitably it will wind up being given over to a tzaddik or to an heir that is a tzaddik or something like that. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here today, and I love you all.